right, welcome to Gen X Rated Thursday edition. How we doing post Christmas, guys?
What is it? The day after?
A little bit of a letdown.
It's the day after.
Yeah, a little bit.
Why is it a letdown, Bill?
I don't know. I mean, you look forward to it for so long, and then it just feels like, Christmas Eve's great, Christmas Day is great, and then you wake up the next day, it's a rainy Thursday, and you're like, oh fuck.
A lot of people went to work today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, we have this whole monthly buildup. I don't even feel like I can play Christmas songs anymore. Done.
That's
Your
why
tree is probably on the curb already.
You know what?
That's why I don't get amped up for
I
holidays.
saved the tree, barely.
What about the
Oh, you
reindeer
did?
out front?
I did. Burns usually the next day likes it on the curb, which I'm okay with, but it's usually January 2nd for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
That's
been a
cool.
good tree. But yeah,
That's
I feel
been a
like
great tree.
the ornaments are off the tree already. Like
What? I thought you could at least leave it up for Cole while we were gone.
It's an expression, Billy. I'm just
Okay.
saying. Up here.
Because I've seen Catherine in action, so it could have been literal.
Well,
Amen.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that have plenty of blues. They sit there and they try to give their kids a good holiday or their families a good holiday, and then they have to get the credit card bill the next month because of all the consumerism. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and just
I was
the
pretty
letdown,
chill.
like-
Just cash app my son some cash. I think he's flying out to New Mexico next week to look for a new PA job because he's got a nightmare of a boss who HR
what you were
apparently
saying.
knows about now, and they know she's just not a very good boss. But he's not going to stay. So, and my daughter's here, and they've been watching. My daughter and my wife have been watching a lot of Christmas movies, and
On the Hallmark
Yeah.
channel?
no, we don't. That's not allowed in my house. No.
What about the Netflix?
What did you guys? They
Male
watched.
Super
They rented
Christmas movie?
that rock movie last night, Red One or some shit.
Okay,
Oh,
was
yeah.
very good.
I walked in and out on it. It looked like your typical,
Rock
action
movie.
hero, fucking hero worship type of movie. So,
The runtime was too long. I couldn't have done it.
well, again, I walked in and out on it. I just watched some of the fight scenes and heard some of the jokes. It was fine. I mean,
I
one
know,
of those
but
movies.
shut it down a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Add it to the
Yeah.
list. Add it to the list. I didn't realize how long of a fucking list of Christmas movies we have.
Yeah.
It's a bit overwhelming.
Well, and I think in the theme of that, we should jump to New Year's Eve movies. What do you say?
Oh,
Okay,
that's
let's
fun.
do it. That might be a nice little pick-me-up for me.
All right. I think you might need it, Billy.
I wonder if my producer Melissa has any New Year's movies she likes. So, other than would you consider When Harry Met Sally a New Year's movie? Did they meet on New Year's?
Yes,
basically.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the only
yeah.
one I can think of literally off the top of my head. Oh shit, you gotta have it all queued up and shit. You'd think I would study today and was ready for this fucking podcast, but in actuality, I just got lucky there. And that's the famous
Yeah.
orgasm scene. My
The
favorite
orgasm,
scene in the
yeah.
whole movie.
I love
Correct.
that movie.
And they went on to do competitions where people showed up and tried to do that. But yes.
Nobody
Harry
did it better
Met
than Rob Reiner's mother. No, she didn't actually do it. She just said, "I'll have what she's having."
Yeah.
Classic.
But, yeah, that's a good movie.
eventually
What other movies do you guys have
Eventually,
on
they
your
did
list?
get together on New Year's Eve, so we're going
New
to.
Year's Eve was like the big climax, right?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
That was 1989.
Wow, that long ago?
This movie
Yeah.
might surprise you. Also, the New Year's Eve film.
Godfather Part 2. How is that a New Year's movie?
Well,
Explain.
the visual is Michael giving Fredo the kiss. It's New
I
Year's
knew it
Eve.
was you, Fredo.
They're in Cuba. You broke my heart, Fredo.
Okay. That was before the Cuban Revolution and the government fell, I take it?
Yeah.
Correct.
That was the night the government fell.
Yeah,
And he was kissing him because Fredo betrayed him somehow, correct?
he did. Yes.
And he
How
knew
did he
it.
betray him? Do we remember?
Yeah, he gave inside info when Michael was going to be home, not knowing that they were going to try and kill him, but he thought it might be better. Might be something in it for Fredo, okay? He's smart.
He's
So he
smart.
shouldn't have been banging cocktail waitresses two at a
Well-
time, is what you're saying.
And I think Michael suspected it when they were having daiquiris. And then they went out that night and they went to see Superman, the legendary Cuban stud who performed a live sex show. And somebody, the governor, the senator from Nevada who was with them was like, how do you know about this place, Fredo? And he's like, old Johnny Ola knows all of these spots. Who they had actually had a scene where they're like, oh, have you met Johnny Ola? I don't think so. Why? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, busted.
I mean, Fredo was
I kind of imagine this is how Rob would do you, Bill, when you fucked up, because obviously Rob would be Mike and you would be fucking Fredo. I mean, there's just no doubt.
You saw it in action that one night.
Rob in a situation where he's Fredo, he's just too careful.
Do you remember that? You remember that one night? Lots of
it was a lot like
throwing glasses on the floor.
When we saw Bill Fralick out, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know what the fuck you did to piss off. To this day, I don't know what you did to piss off your younger brother, but he grabbed you just like fucking Mike's grabbing Fredo. He's like, you fucking grow up, motherfucker. I just stood back and watched. I was like, oh, I like these two. I'm going to hang out with them more often. So, because I barely knew you then. The only way you guys knew me is I was blowing Marlboro light smoke through your vent at the Falcon Inn, and you didn't like it. And you came over and knocked on the door and started bitching. And I didn't kick your ass. So
yeah, and all we got when we figured out it was you, and I mentioned it to you, offhand remark, you were like, oh, well.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, what are you going to do? I don't control the ventilation or the HVAC here. I just smoke the cigarettes.
And for the record, we weren't going to do shit about it. So,
yeah, I know. Thanks, but I felt kind of bad about it like 6-7 years later. At the time, not so much. Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters 2. Also a Christmas Eve movie or a New Year's Eve movie.
That's the one with the little kid, right? They Sigourney Weaver has the kid, right?
Mm-hmm. Did she have the kid in the second one?
So I don't remember a whole lot about it.
They were trying to turn the kid into
the demon or whatever.
The painting was going to take over the kid's body or some shit. Remember that ugly ass painting?
Yeah,
I barely remember this one. This one's not nearly as good as the first one, so
I would agree. So I guess we'll give that, but I want to come back to this one because we mentioned it for Christmas movies, Trading Places.
Way to bring up the blackface, Rob. Way to make me feel real comfortable on my own show. The fuck?
Yeah, that
you couldn't find a better scene than that.
The key is
Christ.
The key is that they're on the train, which is when it was New Year's Eve. That's why that photo's up there. No other reason.
No, you triggered me. You triggered me with the blackface. I completely fucking put that out of my mind. Loved that movie, and now I'm seeing this blackface, and I'm like, that's problematic.
It's not
that's what a Gen Zer would say anyway, or a Gen Alpha.
Let's go back to this then, okay?
All right, fair enough. Two Italians kissing that are related, I can handle, but blackface, not so much.
The kiss of death.
But technically, they were on the train New Year's Eve. That was part of it with Trading Places. I'll finish up with this one for my own personal, which would be Rocky.
Okay.
You have to see this visual because look at this guy. What happened to Stallone? How did he get so ripped? Amazing.
Oh, it's called steroids.
Oh.
And testosterone cream, but it doesn't matter anymore. Have you seen that fucking face? It looks like a leather bag. So you can have all the muscles he wants. He fucked that face up with that California pull, that fucking pull all those Californians get, and all those bitches at Mar-a-Lago with that.
Oh God, they look like
weird ass.
Wives. They all look
crazy.
But how is Rocky a fucking New Year's Eve movie?
The fight was on New Year's Day.
No shit. Okay, I didn't know that. Melissa, did you know that the original Rocky, the fight, was on New Year's Day? Yeah, me either. That just went right over my head.
1976 on that one.
And your friend, your hockey player, Lena, is going to not count that as a New Year's movie. You know that, right? Just because they could have fought on any of that. She's going to say they could have fought on any other day.
That's true.
And it would still be a movie.
That's right.
So
we thought of her, but she's too in demand to be able to pull out on such late notice.
Fair enough.
What about Boogie Nights?
What happens on New Year's Day there?
Oh, dude, the big New Year's Eve party. Goodbye 70s, hello 80s.
Oh, that was a New Year's Eve party. Okay, jeez, dude, these things escape me. I just do not pay attention to
William Macy and his wife,
just
right?
Too many goddamn holidays to pay attention to. So that went over my head. I just thought they were throwing a fucking party. I didn't even realize.
You remember what happened at that party?
Yeah. I mean, I know you're right now because I can see the Chiron going, changing years. But it just escaped me that you would consider. And again, Lena's not going to go for that being a. Lena's
But
never even seen that
technically
fucking gross ass movie. There's just no way she's seen Marky Mark's prosthetic penis, so it ain't happening.
But you know, I won't say funny, but the weirdest thing about that scene, besides the fact that it's a murder suicide and he's finally just snapped after catching her, you know, fucking guys anywhere and everywhere, is that he goes to the car to get his gun. And as he's walking back inside, he locks his car. Dude, you're not coming back. That's your literally.
No, dude,
no
this fucking movie was a fucking
anymore.
comedy as much as anything. Some of the shit in it was just absolutely hilarious. Which reminds me, since we're talking about porn, Bill, since you're the oldest and almost a boomer, at what point did MILF porn just become porn for you? You know what I mean?
I want to say it was probably like during COVID.
And all of a sudden you just found yourself, oh, these are women of my age. I can no longer call it MILF porn.
Yeah.
Well, and thank God Gene didn't go to the G MILF porn. Am I right?
Although, you know, with the testosterone, there's some really good looking women in their 50s and 60s. So who knows? There's something
nothing
for
wrong
everyone
with a
out
handsome
there.
woman, Rose. There's nothing wrong with a handsome woman.
It's true.
This is 97, Boogie Nights, and this cat off the charts.
Yeah, he was skinny.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to fuck right now. I'm ready, Jack. I'm ready.
He's the same guy in every movie. He's like literally Marky Mark in every movie.
Well, it's interesting. I was just listening to the Rewatchables, and they were doing a movie he did in 2014 called The Gambler, and they were talking about how Wahlberg had lost so much weight. He went from 198 down to 137 for The Gambler, and they said, yeah, he did that because in Boogie Nights he had dropped down to 130 or 136, and he wanted to beat that, or 130. I had it reversed. He was 137 in Boogie Nights. He dropped down to that, and then he wanted to beat it, so he dropped down to 136, which is like, holy shit, dude. How are you functioning?
Those dudes are so small. I mean, even to you guys, those dudes are small. My God, they're tiny, tiny human beings.
And here's your Philip Seymour Hoffman.
That guy was
when did he pass away? It's been a few years, right?
Yeah,
it has been a few years. That was really sad.
Very sad.
Scotty J.
Good
cast on the set.
I mean,
he liked drugs. I don't know what to tell you. He really liked drugs.
I think he had a lot of anxiety issues.
Sure.
Anxiety,
Don't we all?
and
we live in America, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think he was one of those guys that was so good at what he did that he didn't feel he was any good. I think he had low self-esteem.
That stinks because he was good in everything from Twister to Boogie Nights to any role, comedy to drama. He could do it all. So
what was that Ben Stiller movie? Along Came Polly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was really
good in that too. Yeah, I vaguely remember Boogie Nights. I haven't really rewatched any of these old movies in quite some time. So
let's not get Uncle Bill started on the rewatchables, which we all love.
Yeah.
Definitely a rewatchable movie, and has been done by the rewatchables.
Oh, they did the 2-part deep dive.
Yeah.
Oh, they did. It was good.
It was really good. Yeah, I recommend it.
And who's the podcast for the rewatchables? Who runs that show?
Bill Simmons.
Oh, that's why I don't watch it. It's Bill fucking Simmons. I just needed to be reminded. That's just me, dude. You can love Bill Simmons all you want. There's just something about that fucking guy. I can't do it. So.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of love for him, but if you listen to the show because you like the movies,
it's a good show.
Right. He's a Gen Xer.
Mm-hmm. I know he is, man. I know.
And I originally knew him as a writer. He did like a column for Sports Illustrated. Well, he started, or not Sports Illustrated, ESPN.com. And I just thought he was, he was always like a Boston sports guy, but I don't know. He's a funny writer. He was pretty good.
I didn't say he can't fucking write. He can write. I just think he's an asshat. Okay.
One year he did this thing. It would be like, it was after the NFL season, I think I want to say maybe like 2006. And it was like, this is what your crappy team's team picture should look like. And I remember the Steelers had failed to make the playoffs. They won the Super Bowl the year before. And for the Steelers' crappy team picture, it was a frozen dog turd.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you just brought up football. So we just want to give some props here to Gene pointed out that Lamar Jackson just took the record for most rushing yards by a quarterback away from Michael Vick.
Yeah, he's close to 6,200 yards now for a
Dude,
quarterback.
that's insane.
It's incredible.
And he did it in what? How many games, Rob?
Well, 102 as opposed to
Okay.
143.
For Michael Vick,
Dude,
143.
that's amazing.
Correct.
And that's why you never fucking say some shit's not going to be broken. Everybody saw Michael Vick and they're like, oh, that shit will never. He's the greatest running quarterback ever. You always think that in your mind, and then fucking Lamar Jackson, holy cow.
Yeah, where's he come from? And then, yes, records, just to refer back, we talked about Ricky Henderson. That record will not be touched. There's just no way, man.
I'm with you.
Not a thing. But you're right. Records are made to be broken. Most guys embrace it, though Gastineau didn't.
He took it hard.
He's got his own problems.
Yeah.
Gastineau has the same problem we all have. He aged out of kicking Favre's ass. You know, it's like I saw the anger, but you know, in the back of Gastineau's mind, he was wishing he was 25 fucking years younger so he could have fucking WWE'd the motherfucker. But we're old now. We can't do that shit anymore. Oh, sorry for the noise. My automatic espresso maker is shutting off and cleaning itself because I'm fancy like that.
And just to finish up on football that we had talked about, you talked about how the owners had no issue using players until they're no longer useful. We had brought up Rod Woodson.
That's my espresso machine, dude. It's shutting off. It sounds like fucking. I know it sounds like Lindsey Graham having sex, but
I'm glad it's not in my head.
It's almost done.
We had talked about injured reserve, which up until 2020, you could have two players put on IR for a reason or not, and then come back. Rod Woodson, week 1 against Detroit, Barry Sanders juked him. He blew out his ACL. He begged the Steelers not to put him on IR so he could come back if they made it to the Super Bowl, which that year they did against Dallas. It's sure I'm a Steeler fan, et cetera. I can tell you how great it was, but the fact that he came back, the fact that they've expanded since then, 8 to 10 players, 10 if you make the playoffs, that you can put to IR and bring back. You can bring a guy back multiple times. But here's Woodson, 9-3, blows out his ACL, 128. He's in the Super Bowl. Yes, I'm a Steeler fan, but what I wanted to say was he was getting props from Michael Irvin himself. Just unbelievable. Cowboys didn't think he could cover them. He just couldn't make those pivots after tearing an ACL. And he was right there making plays and tapping his knee. And that followed up with Michael Irvin giving him a head tap because it was just unheard of. And to your point, Gene, now it's a thing. You bring guys back. You can have ligament damage and come back. I mean, the pressure is that you should come back. Whereas this wasn't that long ago where it was just unheard of. He was literally the first player to come back from ACL during that season. So. Yeah,
we're guinea pigs. It's weird. Mostly the military is guinea pigs because of the traumatic injuries they suffer. And then we apply all that shit to sports medicine and stuff. But
if there's money involved, absolutely.
Yeah. In this instance, is coming back from football from an Achilles tear. That's just guinea pig shit. He wanted to do it. He was long enough in his career, I suppose, that he didn't care if he tore it again. He wanted to play in that game. So I get it. You could definitely see how he wasn't the same guy. And you could see every step he took was painful.
In that game.
Yeah.
Correct.
And probably wasn't even in game shape, but he did the best he could. He did a pretty good job. All things considered.
Absolutely.
I definitely couldn't have come back.
And then, yes, he wasn't himself in that short of time, but the following season, he ended up leaving Pittsburgh. He also played for Baltimore. He played for the Niners. And he went on to have a really good career at safety.
Never should have let him go.
Yeah. Did he play safety in the Super Bowl or corner?
He played corner.
He played corner with his Achilles in the Super Bowl.
I didn't
realize that. I thought they'd maybe moved him to safety.
ACL. Game, I think he might have come in a nickel situation, but he was definitely out there covering.
Yeah, I don't think he started.
I keep saying Achilles. I meant ACL though.
I knew what you meant.
We knew what you meant.
Didn't somebody come back from an Achilles tear the same year as well, or has that happened yet? Or
I think Aaron Rodgers wanted to, didn't he?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and they have a new surgical procedure. It's called a short something or other. It's a little bit different how they put the Achilles back together, and that's probably for the good of the league. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, the funny
Get
thing
down.
about that is I remember like Aaron Rodgers talking about it on one of the podcasts that he does, that he was saying it was, revolutionary and just invented. It turned out it had been around for like 5 or 6 years. There was nothing new about it.
No.
But,
Well, it's new to him.
And it's never a thing until it happens to Aaron Rodgers.
Well, maybe Rob knows this question because I've always been curious since I left playing. What is cartilage repair now? Because that was just not something they were fucking with when I was playing, where they would just repair cartilage. And
Well,
what is that?
I don't really think you can. Can you, Billy?
I don't think you can. They did a procedure where a microfracture, where they would go in and they would make a bunch of little tiny holes in there
for blood
with the feeling that, it would scar up with the same kind of tissue as the cartilage.
Yes.
I think it was like hyaluronic tissue, but it didn't really pan out. I think who was the running back for the Broncos in the Hall of Fame, had a really short
Terrell
career.
Owens, Terrell Davis?
Yeah,
Yes,
Terrell
yeah.
Davis.
I think he had it done twice, but
Oh,
just couldn't
really?
come back from it. And I think I was asking Catherine about it one time, and I think it's pretty much out of favor.
Okay. I don't. There's something going on with one of the Ball brothers, the oldest Ball brother that plays for the Chicago. He's been out for like 2 years. He's had a bunch of shit done to his cartilage. I'm not quite sure what the hell it is. So I don't know, man. All this shit's kind of new, but it's kind of been around. But sometimes it doesn't apply to athletes because of the forces athletes put on their joints alone. It might work for a regular human being. It's not going to work for someone that's making cuts like Rod Woodson. So
yeah,
that's an entirely different thing. So it's all fascinating and interesting. But I'm way behind in the ortho stuff. I mean, since I had back surgery, I haven't kept up. So I don't even know what they're doing in the advancements of back surgeries now. When you have bulging discs or leaky discs, or
I don't know.
It usually starts with pain management. You can get an injection. And then you go from there. But the bulging disc and disc repair has come so far that it's not nearly as major as it was back in Uncle Bill's day.
And I came back from that in the same year, so I'm sure it's been done many times. But I was out during training camp because I had all that pain in my right leg.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually practiced for a week, and I was kicking people's asses. And then I was just like Ronnie Medlin. I'm like, my right leg is fucking killing me, and my toes are fucking numb and shit. And I practiced a couple more times, and then I went and got that MRI and my L5S1. And they're like, you need surgery. And then I argued with, what was our team surgeon's name?
Was it Bishop or Chronic?
Bishop. Bishop. Yeah, Bishop. I would argue with Bishop because he wanted one of his buddies to do the surgery. And I kept telling him I wanted Gropper to do the surgery because Gropper was a neurosurgeon, and Gropper did backs all the time. He's like, we do backs too. And I'm like, motherfucker, you don't do backs.
Yeah.
But he ended up being in the surgery anyway, and I think those fuckers just made fun of the size of my ass the whole surgery because I came out of that shit, and Bishop came in telling jokes. I'm like, you were in the fucking room too, you fucker. So, those fucking our team physicians in Atlanta were something, man.
Yeah,
they were something. They were special.
Well, and it was always a known fact that most of those docs back in the day paid just for
to be a part of it. Yeah,
correct. And then you put your name up in the stadium, and people come see it because they think you're. So
I believe
great.
most people actually think that those doctors, that the NFL cares so much about their players, they went out and found the best of the best in the 80s and 90s and brought them on board. And it's like, no, these doctors like begged and pleaded and paid and did the same thing the fucking car dealerships do to get in. So
that's right. And then if you grease them enough, you get to go on the team charter. You get to go to exotic places and golf. I mean, it's awesome.
Most people don't know. I've taken more plane rides with car salesmen on charter flights probably than anybody else in the NFL, besides the players and the coaches themselves, because of all the free cars the coaches got and shit. They would bring all those those salesmen and their families and all that shit. And then there were the reporters, and then it wasn't just the players. It was just a whole bunch of people that paid to get on, paid for access. Sort of like today, except we're talking about billions of dollars instead of millions. So
yeah, exactly.
You remember J.J. Burton's free car?
Yes.
Oh no, what happened with that?
Dude, he was barely playing. He was always hurt. And I was doing a car deal for Jeff George one day, and he had like wandered by because he wasn't practicing. And he's like, "Hey man, why don't you get me one of those?" And I think I said something like, "Well, yeah, maybe when you start playing again." And he got all butthurt. So I felt bad.
As well, you should have. Poor guy.
But it was true. I mean, dude, we had that one road game where he didn't pack his helmet.
He forgot it.
I can't believe you pulled him up. So did you get him a car deal or no?
I called back and I got hold of this one guy who was just a real, Jersey chaser, and he's like, "Yeah, oh, no worries, man. I got a LeBaron for him. That perfect." So he brings it out to the facility. JJ's excited as can be. I just remember watching him drive off in it, looking so happy.
I mean, they're lucky they didn't give him this one, the family truckster.
Oh, Lord.
But you get the idea that LeBaron was a gem.
Dude, but he had a good career. I mean, he was a big free agent signing. He had a really great career in Kansas City. Sure. He was a big name. He was making money. He had he had some kind of car. It looked like the Batmobile, I think. But he was so excited to get a free car.
And then what happened?
A couple of days later, the guy's boss calls up and says, "Hey, you know that car? That guy was not supposed to give that out. And by the way, he doesn't work here anymore. So I'm going to need that back." And I went and told JJ he was crestfallen. He was just crushed.
Poor guy.
But Jeff George got to keep his car.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
He's a starting quarterback. The other guy barely played. He got like Burt syndrome where it was like, oh, San Francisco's on the schedule. That hamstring's really acting up.
Yeah, he didn't play a whole lot that season.
I didn't even ask you for a free car, Bill. I probably should have.
I could have gotten you one.
For sure.
I'm sure you could have, but that's all right. I'm good.
Get you going where you're going.
You used to let me drive your Mitsubishi when you were out of town.
Which one? The truck or the car?
It was the big blue truck.
Oh yeah, the Montero.
Ended up going to Jason.
Yeah. And I remember one time, I think might have been that first weekend you let me borrow it. You were heading back to Cleveland, I think. And I think like minicamp had just ended. And I'm like, well, dude, are you sure? Because, I don't want to wreck it. And he's like, you're like, dude, it's just a truck, man. As long as you don't kill yourself in it, I'm fine with it. I can replace the truck.
Nice.
Which I thought was a very kind and sweet thing to say.
It's just a truck, man.
It is just a truck. Speaking of trucks, I'm going to bring this guy up real quick because I just want to touch on him real fast. We've been pounding on the
he's not human. I'm
class
sorry.
Structure of how these guys have tremendous amounts of money to make things happen. And they had this bill set to sign before Congress left. It was called the Kids Online Safety Act. And I know we've talked about this before where Australia limits social media for kids under 18. I think there are some educational exemptions, but basically they understand that there's addiction to this. There's mental health harm that comes with social media and all these various apps. We had 91 senators ended up meeting with Zuckerberg. A bipartisan group of Congress was ready to pass this along with the coalition of parents and even Elon Musk. But Zuck had too much power. He had too many lobbyists. And his real help on this was Mike Johnson. And he made it go away. So the House, they went on break. This did not pass. And, Meta continues on their merry way and the billionaire wins.
Can we go back to that picture of Zuck again?
Yes, of course.
Well, now you know why that motherfucker needs a bunker in Hawaii.
I mean, does this look like a person? And I use the term person kind of lightly because I still think he's some kind of an android or a Borg. But does that look like the face of someone that gives a shit
About
about
you?
young people?
No.
Ah, he's not a fucking droid. He's fucking neuroatypical, which is fine. But you know, we're all on a
That is not
spectrum,
the
and some
haircut of
people that are
someone
too
who
far
cares.
on certain spectrums just shouldn't be making fucking decisions about children's safety. That's for
I
fucking
agree.
sure.
Not
So
when you
is
have
this
a bipartisan group that's willing to move forward with this and put some kind of restrictions on it. But again, the power and the money comes, and this is what you get.
hello,
Another reason
children?
I'm
I've
glad
got
my
candy
kids
in
are
my
grown
van.
up and
I know, right? It's
post.
scary.
They're not, they're not growing up with this crazy ass AI and this bullshit tech and just.
Dude, it's nuts.
I
It's
mean,
not.
I had a moment today where I'm looking at some things on Blue Sky and on Twitter, and at first I'm a little outraged, but then I'm like, I don't even know if this is real. Like, you got to go through the comments, then you got to look at the video again, then I mean, nothing's necessarily believable anymore. And how can you have any kind of pushback if you don't know what you're pushing back against?
Oh, by the way, is he a Gen Xer?
I'm going to say no.
How old is he?
Oh,
I hope
I
not.
was gonna say, because Bill, you know what that famous Gen Xer said, right? Oakley makes the shades that transform the tool. Maybe he needs a
That's
pair.
right.
He's 40.
Okay, who said that, Bill?
Oh, it was Weezer.
Yeah, thank you. 40 is 40. 40 is not Gen X, is it?
40 would be, let's see.
There we go.
That's
I want to say it's
1980s
millennial.
Gen X.
Correct.
That's
He
the
should
cutoff.
not be.
So I can't do math. I'm not a math guy. I went to Iowa State. You went to Pitt. Neither one of us can do math.
So I guess
That's
he
not
is
what those schools
technically
were for.
he's technically he is a part of X. So
Oh, really?
it's
Disappointing.
it's
Okay,
that
well,
family member
he's
we
a
don't
pair of
talk
Oakleys,
about.
so he can transform his ass because he's a tool.
He's a tool.
But with all, and oh, by the way, Zuck, I will cut weight to MMA fight your ass. I will cut to whatever weight you want. If I have to not eat for 4 years, I will do that, and I will fight you at 60. You little fucking toad. Give me a fucking break.
This
Act
one
like
won't
you're
be
some sort of
rigged.
fighter. Although I would have liked to see him fight Elon Musk. Like just two neuroatypicals fucking scratching each other's eyes out and shit.
Slap fight. I was just going to say, though, is this like the first round in a battle of billionaires where Musk wanted something and Zuck took it away from him, made sure he didn't get it? I mean, these guys are, like you said, they've got egos. They're neurodivergent. So
I really don't think that Musk would die on that hill. What does he care? He doesn't even spend time with his own kids.
Well, I mean,
just the fact that he wanted something passed, and
he was okay with it. I'm not going to say he was a driving force, but when you talk to 91 senators out of 100, you got some serious influence with that bag of cash.
Dude, but billionaires just have this terrible attitude. Like I'm watching, I'm going through the twatter today. That stupid ass fucking Elon Musk. He's just doom scrolling, and
I know
this little thing comes up about Bezos, how he talks to his employees every quarter about how they should wake up terrified every single day, because when you're terrified, you're more fucking productive.
Oh.
Obviously for him and his fucking investors, but he doesn't say that part. He says you're more productive. I want my employees to wake up. Every single one of my employees to wake up terrified. That's how a billionaire talks to his employees.
Yeah, that's
and you
so
guys want to
fucked up.
hand this shit over to them instead of creating a middle class and a worker class and doing all that shit Bernie Sanders said to do because you'd rather own a libtard like myself. It's just, I think this is America's last chance, not to be all
it feels
morose
like
before we hit January and we're only a couple weeks from that pussy grabber takes the office. But seriously, this is our literal last chance as a working class, as a whatever class, to quit fighting with each other and go after these fuckers and eat the rich, because these motherfuckers, they enjoy the fact that we are terrified that we are one medical debt away from filing bankruptcy, or we don't have $1,000 in our bank account for a fucking emergency. These motherfuckers love that shit.
Yeah, dude, they're getting drunk off our tears.
This may be our last shot, man. This may be our last shot.
It could be. You may very well be right.
Make it a class war as opposed to fighting over who created hip hop or You know, I don't give a shit if you're white
East Coast versus
supremacist. I
West
could care
Coast.
less. If we both have the same fucking health care and we're both treated equally in the hospital and there's no inherent bias and all, you be as racist as you want. Walk down the street wearing your fucking white sheet. Who gives a shit as long as we all have the same opportunities? Because we're not billionaires. I don't care if you're a white supremacist and you're not a billionaire, you have no power.
You're with
They're
us.
just using you in the class war, dumbasses. They're terrified of the class war. But I'll repeat it over and over again until this guy's out, because these people are going to start doing shit to us that they want us to get used to. The Fettermans of the world are going to start saying, "Hey, we'll take Hegseth as the defense secretary, or we'll take Gates as and that's not acceptable from our side, which I don't even call our side. That's not acceptable from Democrats.
It's ridiculous.
It's not acceptable for anybody that gives a shit about this country.
Yeah, you don't normalize this shit, and all these billionaires right now. Trump's keeping tabs on how much money each of them is given to the inauguration, like a fucking mob boss.
Yeah, and if
there's literally a mad, and by mad I mean like demented, mentally sick, fucked up mob boss heading into the big chair right about now, and that should terrify anybody and everybody.
Sure. Well, and the Hill points out, and the Hill is not a left-leaning source of news. But they're really pushing Congress, telling them they have the power to not seat this guy as president based on the 14th Amendment, Section 3, because of that insurrection or a rebellion against the Constitution, aiding and abetting. I mean, this guy was watching it. They were listening to Gloria and loving it as people were tearing into the Capitol. And, I challenge anybody that's listening or watching, watch the videos from that day. It is not right. It was
horrifying,
not normal. They weren't there just to visit and say hi. Shit that they did on the inside. It was a major event in our history.
Congressmen walking around some of the rioters the day before, showing them the whole fucking layout of the fucking place. And now some of those Congress are running committees. Some of those same congressmen are going to be in charge of committees.
Yep.
This is insane how little attention or how short our attention span has gotten, because I don't know if it's because of tech. I can't give you the exact answer.
I think partly, yeah.
Yeah, but we are distracted, and we have this one chance to focus. You have these unions fighting right now. You have the Amazon, the Teamsters. You have Starbucks all over the country trying to fight. They're out there, but just know this: the mainstream media isn't going to cover any of that shit. They're going to cover fucking drones in New Jersey.
And what they did cover was Bezos partying with Usher. And it pissed off a lot of people because he's yucking it up. Meanwhile, you got people at his company turning
My producer, Melissa, informed me yesterday she believes that Bezos is in an open relationship and apparently he gets to bang whoever he wants. So I don't know if I'd bang anybody Usher banged. I think he's been sued for giving people herpes. I'm just allegedly, or no. I think it was him. I don't know. There's been so many fucking celebrities, and anybody in hip hop, they all have the same strain of herpes anyway. Gross. I don't know where ground zero is there, but I've heard some fucking stories. So
does it all circle back to Diddy?
I wouldn't be messing with anybody in hip hop from our generation.
And we had talked about this a little bit earlier. Uncle Bill had touched on it. I speak to several people that are just avoiding. They're just not going to listen to the rhetoric, or they are trying to be less informed, which can be kind of a slippery slope. But people are checking out.
Well, when they were checking in, were they getting the actual information, or were they getting gaslit by corporations whose interests were not aligned with our interests? That's we figured that shit out real quick, because not me so much. I'm 56 years old before I fucking blew a gasket on the Democrats, and I'm like, fuck you too. I mean, Jesus. And this is very true. Why are they so happy all of a sudden? Because they've stopped watching the news, and that's what the three of us kind of sort of did that. And you got to admit, even though it's depressing times coming up, you're a little bit happier than you'd normally be if you were watching these fucking news cycles and how they just.
I couldn't agree more. I did want to point out that this is 2022, right? So this didn't happen after the election. This is we, like you said, have been getting gaslit nonstop, and it just depends on what source you want to choose. So we continue to come back and say, hey, look for alternative sources, look for other platforms, programs.
Dude, we could go buy land in New Mexico right now and start holding like you can't have any electronic devices camps there, and we probably fucking make $1 billion because people are going to have to start shutting shit off and being humans again and going out and talking to each other. The shit we're doing now, we're playing right into Elon's and Bezos and all these fuckers' hands. They are literally trying to get us. Like, if we lose our phone, we want to kill ourselves. Type of shit. Like, I'm serious. These generations behind us.
The only reason why is because my whole calendar's on there. I mean, when it died, I was at AT&T as soon as they opened up because I didn't know what I was doing.
You were like, AT&T, do you have any rope? Do you have 2 stories, 3 stories? Like, yeah, I know, dude. People like it's the end.
Well, where else am I going to put my calendar? How am I going to know what my schedule is if I don't?
My son just sent me a beautiful calendar of him and his wife, all their wedding photos on a calendar. Melissa and I started writing shit into it. Do it old school, man. Just January's coming up. Get yourself a calendar you like and start. I'm
all about lists.
Yeah, well, I mean, calendar. Get a calendar with big squares and start writing shit in there, and put it somewhere, and you'll realize all of a sudden, wow.
What if I'm driving in my car and I want to remember? Oh, what did I have coming up at 5 o'clock?
Take a picture of the fucking calendar, fucker.
Good idea.
Oh no, man. I'm just saying, we're too addicted to these devices. Someone's going to come up with a genius plan of. I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers will run away and he can afford ayahuasca and whatever, but I mean, I'm sure people have retreats where they put these cell phones away for a weekend or a week or some shit and just do something else. Like go to a fucking. We need land, tents, and a bar and lots of booze and no electronic devices, and we could just have like VHS and like I don't know. Like Blu-ray shit there, like no cable, no satellite, and we could all watch Teletubbies together. I don't know, but we need to put those devices down.
Or boogie nights.
Streaming.
I don't even know if we're the same species anymore. I mean, people talk about that stuff. Like, are we even Homo sapiens anymore at this point? We're so much bigger. Go ahead, Bill.
Do you know what's funny? We watched It's a Wonderful Life last night.
We did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it was the first time I'd actually seen the whole thing. But everybody, okay, so he's George Bailey, right, is supposed to be like just graduating college, right? Or his brother just finished high school, and instead of going to college, I guess he saved for 4 years, and the money he saved, he's going to send his brother. So the guy was like, I don't know, like 22, 24. He looked like he was 40. Everybody in that movie looked old.
That's so funny.
That's how we're genetically changing, I think. Everybody in the 40s and 50s looked old. By the time they were 20, they looked 40.
I sent Rob a list of what year was that football team I sent you? Was that Penn State's football team, Rob?
Yes.
I sent you from 87, 88. Yes. And the guy was making fun of them on TikTok because they all look like they were. It's like, this guy looks like my dad when he was 30. It's like, they look so much older. And in the late 80s, they look so much older. When I got to Iowa State, every one of those dudes was just jacked up on roids and had a full Burt Reynolds mustache. And I was like, I couldn't even fucking grow hair here yet, I got there at 17 years old. And I was just like, holy shit, how am I going to do this? These people are they're old men. But and then we just started looking younger all of a sudden. And now they look real. You see them in college today, they look like babies.
Well, and to your point, Gene, I'm going to put
bigger, they're taller.
I'm going to put up Bill Berge, who passed yesterday.
All right, on. Rest in peace, Bill Berge.
Great linebacker.
He's probably 25 there, some shit, bro. He looks like he's 40. Holy cow. Yeah, he was a good linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Eagles.
But he was born in 1945, so I don't know if Uncle Bill's going to do the math or not. Mm-hmm. But he looked like he was in his 30s when he was 20, early 20s.
So he died at what, 79? Yeah. He was. He looked much older. All those guys, Dick Butkus, all those guys looked much, much, much older back in the day than they do today. Lambert. So it's very interesting.
Well, and you could understand the baseball players during the Second World War that were flying fighter jets. They probably came back looking a little bit older. And
Yeah. They were still only 27 years old.
Correct.
But yeah, that war
World
ages
born.
you. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So the start date for the baby boomers is 46,
Okay.
1946. So
My mom's a boomer. My producer Melissa's mom is silver generation then.
that's that
interesting.
small, that like sub generation that came right before that, right? The silver.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So he's a
Yeah.
silver.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So all right.
And our president's a silver, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
How could he
This
not
body.
be?
Yeah, he's definitely.
Yeah. Oh, he's
so
got
is,
to be.
So is Pelosi.
Ugh.
See,
So,
look how far we've come, huh? Look at that.
yeah.
Bunch
a
of
long ways.
Neanderthals.
Which one is which? What are those?
The guy on the right's getting older, more recent to our current times.
Oh, okay. I got you. But you don't know if it's Australopithecus or fucking Neanderthal or what the fuck
I call
was
them
that?
all Neanderthals. Okay, it's probably the
Well,
best hockey. Probably the best.
You're
hockey
insulting the
joke I've ever heard.
Cro-Magnons.
Well, the whole point I was making when we started this whole rant was, are we even the same species anymore? We're addicted to tech. We're way fucking bigger.
Mhm. Shorter
I think
attention
our
spans.
children's taints are being are smaller than ever. Their sacks to their assholes are getting like
What?
less long. Like I think our great grandfathers' taints were like fucking this long, and then fucking our grandfathers, and then our fathers, and then it's just slowly. And then in 200 fucking years, there aren't going to be men anymore. It's that chromosome's going to be gone, and women are just going to push a button on their left titty, and then they're going to be pregnant. So, because men are pretty much useless, I think. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, we've essentially got one job, and if we can't do that, then what's the point?
Exactly. We have one job. We are literally designed to do one thing and nothing else well, and then we fake everything. We fake it till we make it. And yeah, once that goes away, once our nut sacks are right up against our fucking assholes, man, ain't gonna be no more babies, and all these Amazon women are gonna chop our fucking heads off, and that's it. We're done. Species gone.
Man, the good
I
news
better
is
start looking for property in New Mexico then.
No, dude. We're not gonna live long enough for that shit.
We'll be
our
long
taints
gone
are
by that
fine.
time,
We're
so.
Gen Xers. Gen X taints, good taints. not great grandfather taints. Not the size of a fucking football, but good enough.
I'm pretty confident in my taint length.
Can you imagine the size of our great grandfather's fucking prostate if their fucking taint that was that big? Their fucking prostates must have been fucking like the size of two of my fists together. Just fucking incredible.
small
How they even take a
cantaloupe.
piss? My goodness, they had to use a catheter just to fucking create a fucking pee hole. How'd you get on this rant, Rob? What the fuck's wrong with you?
It's entertaining.
Yeah, anyway, all right,
Never
Rob,
know
what
where
else
it's
do you
gonna
have
go.
today?
Well, I thought we might want to talk a little bit about the bowls that are upcoming. If anybody's interested, some of the
Hey
more.
Siri, what's the score of the Iowa State football game?
Iowa State was defeated by Arizona State in the Big 12.
Not that. Producer Melissa, what's the score of the current game? Because my school is in the Pop-Tart Bowl right now as we speak. And I don't know the score because I'm podcasting. So my producer Melissa is going to look it up. Anyway, what bowl games are you actually looking forward to, if any?
Well, I can tell you which one I'm not really paying attention to is the one that Pitt's currently in.
Yeah, they're losing.
How bad?
They were down by 8, I think. They're playing Toledo.
No, I think they're up 30 to
that's
20
the one
now.
in Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was where we were going to meet up at the dispensary and
Yeah.
shit. But Rob canceled on me because he coaches women's hockey and has more important things to do in life than.
That isn't necessarily. It was just too quick to turn it around. That was all.
I'm seeing the Pitt's up 30
Fair
to
enough.
20.
What is it? 30 to 20?
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember back in the day when
22
Bill
up.
used to quit jobs for me to fucking come hang out with me for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Hey,
Remember
Bill, you want
that?
to come hang out for a week? He's like, hell yeah, just give me 5 minutes. Yeah, I ain't never coming back to work again. See you later. And then he'd fucking start heading my way. And
Yeah, I had that job.
Melissa and I would
It
start
was
getting nervous
something-
going, dude, he literally quit his job. I don't know when the fuck we're getting rid of him now. But you never stayed more than 2 weeks. It's all cool. And then you go back and get
Yeah.
another job.
I knew
You were
not
very
to
good at
overstay
that.
my welcome.
That's
Wise.
talent, man. That is talent.
I think that was, what was that? It was some sports marketing job that had some kind of tie into the Olympics.
Mm. You've had some interesting jobs, for sure.
I need to find a new interesting job.
I know. It's in New Mexico, taking people's tech away from them and just, I don't know. We'll have weed too. I don't know about ayahuasca. I don't know shit about that. You'll have to ask Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Who often wears Oakleys, by the way, I hear.
Oh,
Well, that would make him a
mainly for
tool.
sponsorship.
No
I don't know if
transforming
that's true.
that
I just
tool.
wanted to call him a tool.
Fair enough.
He just seems like a crappy teammate.
Pitt is up 30-20. About 11 minutes left in that game. Good eye, Billy.
All right, hail to Pitt.
Oh, my game's not till Saturday, huh? Iowa State's game?
Yeah, crappy bowl games are the day after Christmas.
I
so
gotcha.
your team was a little less crappy.
Oh.
So good on you.
That's cool.
It'll start to heat up a little bit more when you get Tuesday the 31st, Christmas, New Year's Eve, where you'll have Penn State and Boise State. That's at 6 versus 3. New Year's Day, you get Texas, 5th in the country versus Arizona State. Again, solid team to beat up on your university, Gene. And then more interest to you would be Ohio State plays Oregon.
Well, my question to you about the Ohio State thing is, how did you guys feel about that Herb Street rant defending Day after the win, talking about the lunatic fringe and then taking shots at Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp, and then Shannon Sharp literally clapped back on the show going, I know we work for the same network, but you ever do that shit again, I'm going to fuck off on you. And then he let it go. Did you guys hear about that or see that at all?
I did, yeah. And you know what? I thought that was a pretty legit comeback by Sharp. Like,
let's keep this in Herb Street's. Why did Herb Street go on as? I mean, Day won one fucking game, one game. What was that? I mean, settle down, Kurt.
I had no problem with him going after Stephen Smith, though.
Oh, you didn't? But he went after Stephen A. Smith for shit Stephen A. Smith didn't actually say, though. When you go after someone, don't rearrange their fucking words.
Agree.
No, I would agree with that, but I just think Stephen A. Smith's a tool.
Well, yeah, I mean, he wears Oakleys too. There's lots of people you can fucking go after. I mean, Stephen A. Smith, he made Willie D's song. Fucking, if you ever want to see a good song, I'm not gonna say it on this podcast because it's too white. But yeah, look up the song. It's a good song. And he mentioned Stephen A. Smith and Charles Barkley and a few others. And then he made a part 2. Willie D did, and he was correct to do so. And he should probably make a part 3 with Byron Donald and Herschel Walker and some of these other motherfuckers. For fuck's sake. The song's called Coon, by the way. I'll just say it. Coon. There you go, white people. Don't freak out. A black guy wrote a song called Coon.
I'm a little freaked
mentioned
out.
Stephen A. Smith. But anyway, I just think it's silly, man. Win the national championship and then go off on people, Kirk. That's all I'm saying.
Drive off in a Hyundai. I'm with you, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Calm down, Kirk. His dog just died, though. He's probably a little emotional about that shit. It can set you off. We're Gen Xers. He's a Gen Xer. We can get fucking cranky about the fucking dumbest shit and just bring it to work. You know how that goes.
For sure.
Well,
it
I'm
happens.
sure Rose is yelling at fucking old people when he's fucking taking down Christmas lights. You old boomer motherfuckers. Fuck you. I can just imagine. Well, you're probably thinking it anyway. So
maybe saying it to myself.
You turn a little red, so I definitely know you're thinking it. So.
For sure.
That's how you know when you can make Bill turn red, you're on to something. You've gone on to something. That's why I avoid talking about strippers a lot. So.
Well, to that point, though, we have New Year's coming up, and I thought a fun way to end this might be to maybe bring about a famous or a favorite or a least favorite New Year's Eve, good, bad, or other. I'm going to have Uncle Bill start because he's the grand marshal of this.
I've got a lot of New Year's Eve that didn't quite pan out the way I had hoped. But this one, I think I was a junior in high school, and our dad had an arcade. He ran a video arcade over like video games on the other side of Pittsburgh. So, I'd worked there over the summer, and I met this girl, and we were kind of like, dating, and we hadn't been seeing each other for that long. And so New Year's Eve rolls around, and we're going to go out. And so I pick her up on the other side of town, bring her back to my house. And at the time, I was in high school, I was living at home. And my mom and her boyfriend were there, and they were going to go out and go see a movie. And like an idiot, I think, they offered us to come with them. And like an idiot, I'm like, well, this will be a fun double date. So we went to this shitty movie. It was, I remember this. It was called Kiss Me Goodbye with James Caan.
Same with your date.
James Caan and Sally Field and Jeff Bridges. And James Caan played a tap dancing ghost of her ex-husband. It was a terrible movie and
not rewatchable.
Not rewatch. And the only reason I remember it is because, this was my big chance, man. And I knew as soon as we walked into that stupid theater, I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck did I do?
Mm-mm.
And of course we went in one car.
Thinking that? You know who else was thinking that? Mom's boyfriend was like, what? I was trying to be nice. Here's his big chance to have the house to himself. What's he coming with us for?
What is wrong with this kid? So yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. And I never heard from her again. It was a long, silent drive back to Westview. And
how old were you?
Junior in high school.
So yeah.
Old enough to know better. In fact, if your dad was out of town, that meant his place was open.
Mm-hmm.
which you took advantage of, like the smart kid
listen
that
to
you
Rob talking about his fucking strategy growing up by the time he was a junior in high school.
I remember him.
Rob just gave away what the fuck he does all the time, what he did in high school. That's pretty funny, Rob. Yeah, don't look away, buddy. You just gave us your blueprint for high school. Wait until one of the rents is out of town and use their place. Thank you, bro. I knew you were.
I remember him coming home one morning with sheets off our dad's bed and throwing them in the washer.
Oh, gross.
Listen, I wasn't going to leave dirty sheets for one.
You're a good son.
I broke his antenna, so I just
hooked you blamed it on me.
In the up position where you go under the hood and it just stays up. He's like, didn't this thing used to go down? I'm like,
oh my God.
Oh yeah, I think.
How did you break his antenna? It just broke on you?
Well, it bent a little bit, so it wouldn't go down. So I just kept it in the up position.
Yeah, that was common for those antennas back then.
Yeah, sure. Don't trust your car around Rob. I remember I got this Honda Civic hatchback, and it was it was a brand new used car for me, and I loaned it to Rob, and him and our buddy had it out, and they bring it back.
First day I took it.
I had it. I don't even know if I knew you took it. I think you just took it.
I didn't even know how to drive a stick, but we went.
That's awesome.
It comes back. It's got cigarette burns on the driver's side, but right now,
passenger side.
Are you sure? I think it was on the driver's side because I had to look at it. That's the only reason I noticed it.
Oh.
Could have been on the pass. I probably wouldn't have noticed it for weeks.
It's probably on both sides. He had somebody in the passenger seat.
Uncle Bill was kind enough to let me take it, and we'd had the car maybe 40 hours, which was great. But I knew he'd lose his shit. So I came back and had to tell him that it was my friend's dad, who's a doctor, leaned through the window and his ash fell. And I'm super sorry. But
Gen X is such good liars. That's a good lie. Nice one.
Listen, he didn't even know it for a decade. And then one of my buddies told him.
I was still motherfucking the doctor.
That fucking doctor should be paying for my shit. He has a job.
Rob finally told me, he's like,
dude, that cigarette thing, every time we bought a new car, because Melissa used to sing in bands all the time, and she used to love to have a cigarette on the way home after she was done, just stressful, anxiety. Every time we buy a new fucking car, dude, every time I'd like, dude, do not fucking smoke in this one. Do not smoke in this one. And sure as shit, every time she'd flick a thing, it'd fly out the window, fly back in, and start burning the back seat and shit. Just brand new shit. It would drive me crazy. No lies there. She would just like, I fucked up. I smoked in the car. But I would just like, oh my God. That would drive me bonkers when she would smoke in a brand new car.
And I was pretty young, so I was it was concerning to me. I didn't want to upset Uncle Bill, but it did happen.
Yeah, good lie too. I mean, it's better to lie to him so he's not mad at you for 10 years. He's mad at that fucking doctor for 10 years. That imaginary doctor.
Or was
he
he a
was
real doctor?
Oh, you made up. You didn't make up a person. It was, but you made up the situation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Was that doctor an actual smoker too, or no? Do you even know? Oh, he was. Damn, you're a real good liar. Holy shit!
Nobody was
I've got
going to
his story
question
straight.
this guy, and it was pretty safe. And then he let me continue to take the car, and I did learn how to drive a stick, so it was a real win-win.
We'll have to
Thanks,
talk about
Uncle Bill.
We'll have to talk about parties we threw in high school when our parents ran out of time. Did you guys ever throw parties? I threw the best fucking parties.
Oh, it's crazy.
So we'll have to
We
make
will
that a
definitely have
topic.
to revisit that because once they took Uncle Bill to college, it was free reign.
Yeah, do whatever
I
the
had-
fuck you wanted.
I had some connected neighbors next door, connected, and what was I going to do? What was I going to say? They liked me. They came over and they just blew out the apartment. It was
Any of my relatives died, I saw it as an opportunity. I'm like, oh, my parents have to go out of town to a funeral. It's like it's kegger time. So yeah, oh my god, that's what Gen X did back then, though.
That's
so many
right.
parties and so
Well,
many
our mom
parents'
worked a lot.
houses.
But unlike Weird Science, we cleaned our shit up. I never got pinched. for
That's
that,
how my
by the
parents
way.
knew I threw a party, man. Their shit was cleaner than when they fucking left. And they were like, what fucking happened here? Because this place is too fucking clean. They knew. They always knew because that shit was so clean. You get your friends to help. I mean, that night when people started leaving, you just get all the girls, start picking up these fucking Dixie cups, but start picking up all these Solo cups and stuff. And then, I remember one time, they started spitting sunflower seeds at one of my parties. Got in a sunflower seed fight.
Ooh.
And I had to clean that shit up at 3:00 in the morning. Yeah, fucking teenagers, man. They're fucking idiots. But we cleaned that shit up. And yeah, my parents knew anyway because it was too clean.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes some of your buddies would be like, hey, we'll come back tomorrow and help you clean up. And maybe you'd do a little cleaning. Maybe you'd
Yeah, I
finish
didn't have
off
those
some
kind of
the-
friends. I went to a Jesuit high school. Those motherfuckers stayed at home and passed the fuck out. So I had
That's
to
how you
fucking
knew
do
who
it
your
that
real
night
friends
and
were,
recruit
and
the girls from the
They were few.
from the Catholic schools to help me because
Nice.
I wasn't going to get any boys from those Jesuit high schools. They're above all that. They don't do that shit.
Well, maybe they couldn't handle their liquor. They could have been a mess the next day.
And
That's
it did
true.
turn into a good excuse to day drink.
As long as they didn't
Yeah.
puke in my fucking house, I was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
So
For sure. Well, I think that should be revisited because that would be pretty interesting to
definitely.
hear a little bit about Gene's tales.
Oh, when Uncle Butch died, yeah, fuck, man, I threw a fucking
It was
4
on.
kegger that night. Crazy. And we
In
can
his
also talk
honor.
about how cops didn't violate your fucking constitutional amendment and walk through the threshold of your fucking house like
That's
they
right.
fucking own the place like they do today.
Sure.
And you're all in high school and you're all underage and they're not about to violate your constitutional rights in the 80s like they do today. Now they just don't give a fuck. Now cops can not know the law, be dumb as shit, and Breonna Taylor your ass if they feel like it and get away with it. So
And we will circle back on that one. I think an associate's degree would be kind of nice for the police to have. I'm not saying each patrolman has to pay for it himself, but it would be nice.
GED here for some police departments, including the state troopers. GED. You don't have to be any smarter than Lauren Boebert to walk around and shoot people on the fucking highways in Ohio.
She took that test 3 times, Gene. That's not super smart.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Until her fucking proctor got a nice orgasm, she didn't pass that shit. Exactly. Exactly. So,
Boy,
you know what I'm saying? Allegedly.
Dude, she's the
Allegedly,
worst.
Of course.
All of our shows are pre-based and alleged. So
Allegedness. Yes.
It's called ass coverage.
yeah, except for that shit she was doing in that Beetlejuice revival. I saw that shit with my own eyes. She was
On
basically
video.
grabbing that guy's dick and he was playing with her tits. And there
We've
were
seen
kids
her in action
everywhere. So
Yeah.
just so you know what you guys vote for.
Yep.
And keep voting for.
Mhm.
So we will not be able to do a Saturday edition. I will be
Okay.
traveling, but I will be back for Tuesday if you're up for it, Gino.
Cool. I'll be around.
All right. We'll definitely talk, but I just wanted to put that out there now so we know.
All right, well, that sounds like a perfect time to talk about parties.
Yeah, we got time to think about it. After New Year's parties, we can talk about those parties.
Oh, yes.
And you never even asked me what the worst thing ever happened to me on New Year's.
What?
Why don't you tell us?
Well, I don't know if it's the worst thing, but it's one of them. I remember going to the Improv in Coconut Grove in Miami, down there at Coral Gables, I think. Took my parents there on New Year's Eve, paid for like the midnight show or whatever, you know. So champagne, front row, went there wearing a pair of blue jeans and a white t-shirt. And the headliner, I don't know who it was, some black guy. He looks at me in the first 2 minutes of his act. He's like, "Hey, you, come here." He makes me stand up on stage and he's like, "Turn around." And so he has me turn around where my back's to the entire stage. And then he's like, "And on today's flight, we'll be watching the movie Die Hard." And he showed the back of my shirt like it was a big movie screen because I was so fucking big, and I was horrified and I was embarrassed. And
Oh man.
that fucked me up for the entire show. I couldn't remember another joke the rest of the show that I sat down like, holy shit, that guy just fucking destroyed me.
That sucks.
In the first 2 minutes of this show. So I just sat there and just power drank vodka until I was fucked up.
Oh, what a dick.
Yeah, I think we had a limo that night, so I didn't drive home, thank goodness. But anyway, that was a pretty fucking memorable night. Just being used as a prop in a stand-up show in the first couple minutes.
And that's always concerning. We did improv recently, which wasn't of my choice. Not a huge fan. And that's sketch comedy.
We left halfway through.
And all they want to do is like make the crowd nervous. Oh, I could be picking on you next. Oh, you might be the next one. Oh, what do you think about this? And then they blow you off when they see that you're like concerned, or they just roast you.
Yeah,
which I don't appreciate.
Or it's one of the improv buddies
like
in the
Rob
audience,
is
and
not
they
going
just
to
go
like
with
that
it.
shit at all. I've experienced. I was at a comedy show. I don't think it was a New Year's show with Melissa 15 years ago. You guys know about that time I hit that little kid driving home from a show, right? From Lisa Lampanelli's show.
What?
I'll tell you about that story. I told you that story, right?
I don't think so.
When a little kid, his sister was babysitting him, and he ran out of his stoop and ran down the stairs like at 1 o'clock in the morning and ran right in front of my Acura MDX when I was driving. I was stone fucking sober. I didn't drink a drop of alcohol that night. I didn't smoke any weed. I was straight sober because we were in Lorain, Ohio at the Lorain Theater. And I was like, I don't know this area. I ain't going to fuck with these cops. I'm gonna play it straight. Lisa Lampanelli roasts me that night. Now, this isn't a New Year's story. This is a comedy show story. She sees me sitting next to Melissa, and she immediately starts. Her whole gig was just shitting on black guys, saying they had no money, and if they were with a white chick, obviously the white chick was taking care of you. So she got me in that show that night. Really, I think she's since apologized for doing that type of comedy, but she got me that night real fucking good. And we're driving home, and we're like semi-laughing about it. And I think were we on Lorain Road even, maybe? I don't know. I think we were on Lorain Road. We just left the Lorain Theater. I just gotten roasted. And we're kind of laughing and talking, and we're driving. Well, I'm driving this Acura MDX, and then all of a sudden this flash comes down out of this dark house down the hill, and Melissa screams, and I'm left-handed, so I just naturally whip the car left-handed. But whatever the fuck ran in front of my car, I hit it.
Came from the left? Yeah.
Okay, from the right. I swerved left.
You went left.
And
so
I clipped it.
Whipped him?
No. I clipped it with my front right bumper. I had the crack on the bumper. I turned left. He came down, and I hit him with my front right bumper. Melissa just screams. And I'm like, holy shit, I just killed a fucking kid. I just scream it. I drive up onto someone's fucking lawn. I run out, and there's a little kid, I swear to God, by a fucking telephone pole crying, who just shit himself. He had nothing on but a fucking diaper. And what I accidentally actually did is I clipped him like a 7-10 split in bowling, and I knocked him out of the way of traffic from all the fucking drunk fuckers behind me that would for sure run his ass over. And it was just dumb, pure fucking luck. And I picked this kid up, and he's obviously shit himself and he's crying, but he's physically fine. I just clipped his ass, just a feather.
You saved his life, Gene.
I saved his ass, saved his fucking ass.
Did.
I start looking around like, where the fuck did this kid come from? I see this teenage girl just close her door and turn the fucking light out. I'm like, that's where this kid came from. She was babysitting her brother while her dad was downstairs fixing his HVAC, and she was on the fucking computer. She was like on Facebook or some shit. And I clipped this fucking kid, and all these cops show up. And the funniest part about it is everybody around me had stopped. They were all fucking drunk. It was Saturday night. By the time the cops showed up, everybody left because no one wanted a fucking DUI. So I was sitting there alone holding this kid going, I think this kid came from this house up here. The cops had to go knock on the door, had to get the father downstairs. I had no idea that any of this shit happened. I freaked out so bad. I went to the doctor that Monday and I got a week's worth of Xanax because I couldn't calm down from almost killing this kid.
That would have been
It was
believe
the
it.
weirdest shit ever. I mean, I almost killed him, but I actually saved his ass from all the drunks behind me. And I was, sober as a sober judge because judges are rarely sober. They're drinking vodka in their coffee cups. But anyway, yeah,
Wow.
that was that's my Lisa Lampanella story. So I mean, we all have.
That is
that was fucked
crazy.
up. I thought you guys knew that one.
No, I would
No,
remember
I had
that.
not heard that one. We are losing Uncle Bill. I don't know what the heck is happening.
I forgot to turn my light on and it got
Wow.
dark.
To that point,
And I
He
can't
likes
get up
that
and turn
look.
it on.
say goodbye to Uncle Bill.
All right. Well, happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Guys.
Well, we'll talk to you Tuesday, right?
Yeah, we'll talk to
Yeah,
you
Bill,
too.
try not to go on any awkward dates with anybody this New Year's. Gotta
Well,
keep
I'll
it
be
solo
in-
between you and your girl.
We'll
You'll be
coming
here.
back from Scranton, right?
You'll be here. Yeah.
We'll be coming back.
New Year's Eve day. So we'll catch up.
When does your daughter leave, Rob?
I think the Saturday after the 4th or whatever that day is.
Oh, cool. So you still have her for a while.
A
That's
couple
cool.
more days. It'll be nice, and we'll take her this week. So it'll be good.
All right. Well, have a
Glad
good
to
New
have her.
Year's. Don't
All right.
drink too
Happy
much.
New Year, guys.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
Talk to you.
Happy New Year's.
See ya.
Bye.